Hey guys, Manny here, and today I'm going to give you a tutorial on how to connect your Bluetooth modules together so that when they power on, or anytime they receive power, they would automatically link together. So I'm going to show you real quick. You should have two different Bluetooth modules. You should have the HC05, which is the top one, and the HC06, which is this bottom one. The difference between the two is that the 06 has 4 pins and the 05 has 6 pins and this little button down here. When you start off though, that little button is going to be important because that's what's going to put us into programming mode. So go ahead and find yourself a little alligator clip or something to hold that button down, because trying to hold it down and putting it in the breadboard's annoying. But there should be alligator clips or something similar lying around. So the way you want to wire your modules up is according to this diagram. Both of them are going to be exactly the same, except the HC05 has this key wire right here. So that's going to go to pin 9. Otherwise, they're both the same. So 5 volts ground, your TX on the Bluetooth module needs to go to pin 10, and the RX needs to go to pin 11. So as long as you have that set up, you should be good to go. I have both of mine hooked up right now on two separate Arduino boards. So you want to make sure you have the Arduino IDE. If you don't have it, it's arduino.cc, I think, to go download it. Now, once you have this, these two code files will be provided to you. All these files are doing basically is just opening a software serial port, because you can't use the RX and TX lines at the same time as programming, so it'll screw everything up. So this is just opening a software one that's constantly reading and writing for you to be able to send commands to and from the controller. But this code you don't really have to worry about it. So once you have that, I have both hooked up, so you should see one of them should say Arduino Uno. If it doesn't, just make sure you have the right COM port. Mine are both regular Arduino boards, so they say the Arduino Uno, but if you have clones, they might not explicitly say what they are. So just double check in the device manager, and if you don't know how to get there, just press Windows key X and then device manager. Once you have both these sketches, make sure you know which is which. So mine, I have, this should really be BT underscore 05 and this is BT underscore 06. So once you have that, you want to go ahead, upload the code to both boards. Go to serial monitor. Oops. I'm going to do this on both of mine. On the 05, it's going to say enter AT commands. If it comes up jarbled or with weird symbols, make sure that on the 05 it says both NL and CR, because if not, that'll affect the way that this outputs. Mine by default, both of them were set to 9600 ball, but that also might be another setting if it comes out jarbled and messed up. And for the 06, you want to make sure that you have no line ending, because that one, for whatever reason, doesn't have it. So, to double check that these are connected, type capital AT into each of the windows, and you should get a response that says OK. So I'm going to do that here, and we're good on both of them. Now, that basically just means that we can now send commands and configure the modules. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename both modules first off, because I don't know what the names are from factory, but I'm going to name my 06 is going to end up being the slave, so I'm going to name the 06 AT plus name. I'm going to name this one the car with my initials. So you should, if you type that in correctly, you should get a response that says OK set name. So again, that was, we're going to do it on the 05 too. So the command is AT plus name in all caps equals, this one's going to be my remote. So this one I'm going to put remote and then my initials. And it said OK. So the names are set. So now we need to set both the baud rate and the passwords for both modules. Both of these need to be the same for both. So the way you do that is AT plus on the 05, the command's a little different. They're each different, I don't know why. But on the O5, it's AT plus UART equals 9600, comma 0, comma 0. I don't know what the zeros are for, but 9600 is the baud rate we want. So, okay. And on this one, to set the baud rate, it's AT plus baud 4. This one's kind of the more limited module, so I think the commands were supposed to be shortened. But you should get a response that says, OK, 9600. Now we want to set the pins on both. So this one, on the O5, it's going to be AT plus PSWD. And then you set that equal to whatever you want, but just make sure that for both modules you set it to the same number. So it's a 4-digit number. So mine, I'm going to do 2222, just for whatever. You should get a response that says OK. If you want to double check, you can do AT plus PSWD again without any arguments, and you should get what you set before. And on this one, it's going to be AT plus pin, and no equals or anything, just pin and then the number, and make sure it's the same. And you should get back OK set pin. So now that the baud rate and the password are set and the same on both of them, the 06 is pretty much done at this point, so you can kind of ignore this for now. On the 05, we still have to configure it into master mode and tell it to automatically connect to the 06 when it boots up. So to do that, we have to type in a series of commands. So the first one is going to be AT plus RMAAD. And that's going to clear any previous devices that it might have been paired to before. It shouldn't be from factory, but it's good to do this just to clear it anyways. So we're going to get back OK. Now we want to tell it to go into master mode. So AT plus roll equals 1. That's okay. So now we want to reset the module. And that's reset. Now you should still have the alligator clip on there with the button pressed down. If you don't, then you need to unplug the module and plug it back in while you're holding the button down, because if not, it won't go back into command mode. So we're good there. And you'll tell because it'll still be slowly blinking every 2 seconds. So now we're going to tell it, we're going to allow it to pair with other devices. So we're going to set AT plus C mode to 0. We get back OK. So that tells it that it's allowed to pair to other devices. So now we're going to do AT. We're going to run a scan. So AT plus INQM. And we're going to set that equal to 0, 5, 9. So this is going to basically run a scan for 9 seconds and search for up to 5 devices. So it's either going to hit 5 devices and then finish the scan, or it's going to scan for 9 seconds, time out, and try to find up to 5. So we're going to do that. Now, when you do this, you should try to have the modules on the proto board as close as possible together so that the module next to it comes up as the first one, because there might be a bunch of other Bluetooth devices in the area. So just make sure that they're as close as possible, and try to be away from like cell phones and computers that have Bluetooth. So now we want to see what it found. So to do that, we do AT plus IN. Well, we want to initialize it first. So AT plus INIT. We get back OK. And now we want to find what we found. So we're going to go AT plus INQ to inquire. And that might take a second. So I shut all my Bluetooth off on all my devices, so the only one showing up is the slave module next to it. So these first 3 numbers are the ones we're after. This is the address of the device. When you run this, if there's other devices in the area, you're going to get more of these numbers. So we want to figure out if this is the right device first. So we're going to do AT plus our name with a question mark, and you want to type this address in, these first 3 numbers, but you want to replace these colons with commas. So it's going to be our name, and in my case, 2016. It's going to be different in your case. So 2016, comma 8, and then 110259. And that's going to respond with the name of the device, which says car MM, which is what I set the 06 to before, so that's good. So we know that that's the right device. You might have to run that rname command a couple times with the other addresses to make sure that you have the right one. But once you have the right one, now we want to pair the devices together. So we're going to go AT plus pair, and then pair equals, you want to type that address again with the commas. So 2016, comma 8, comma 110259, and you want to give it another argument, so comma 9. And that 9's just a timeout argument for this command. So we hit enter, and it should come back saying OK. And now we want to bind the two together, so we're going to do AT plus bind equals the address, so 2016 in my case, comma 8, comma 110259, and just hit enter on that. That one doesn't need any more arguments. OK. And now we want to set the C mode back to 1 so that that one device is the only one that's allowed to connect to it. So now we're telling it only what you're paired with is allowed to work. So AT plus C mode equals 1. Alright. So now we have both devices configured. We want to link the two. So we're going to go on the 05 and do AT plus link equals the address that we've been using. And when you're looking at the modules, you should see that the 06 is now solid and that the 05 is blinking like that. So as long as the 06 is solid and that's blinking now, they should be connected. You can double check this by, and you can take this alligator clip off now. You can double check this by unplugging the module, making sure it loses power. Oops. And then plug it back in. So now you should see that they should try to link up again, because the other one, now it's solid from blinking, and now they're talking again. So you know that it worked. So once you have your modules linked and configured, you can actually test them with a third Arduino script. And this, you just have to upload it to the HC05. It's basically the same exact code as the HC06, just running on the 05 instead. And with your two COM windows open, you can now send messages to each other. So if I type hello here, you can see that it shows up here. And vice versa, if I type hello world, it comes back hello world. So that's how you know that they're both talking to each other once they're linked, and you're good to go. Have fun.